I have a single test for an anagram testing algorithm, and the first use case is the same short text is not an anagram. So we just take two words that are the same. One is not the anagram of another because they are not mutating the characters, and therefore we expect that is anagram will return false. And the implementation for that's here. It's actually just returning false, not doing anything else clever. So if I run those tests, should find at this stage the test pass. And that's great. And typically in a test, we want more than that. We want to maybe test that with some longer tests, some longer text. So quite often you'll see this in unit test sets. So let's say we've got some longer text or some text with spaces. It's just a variation of the data, but it's essentially the same test, different data. So we're going to continuously do deduplicate. We don't want that. Quite often people will go this far anyway. You'll see something like this, which at least isn't incurring the overhead of an additional test and is having a little bit some longer text here. But that's still duplication. In fact, we've got compound duplication here. We have the duplication of the data, same and same are the same, and longer text and longer text are the same. And the plumbing of each of those tests here, the fact that it's asserting a false return from an algorithm is the same in both cases. So let's look at if we split that up simply to the data that's required to do this. So we have something like let's see, so we want, let's say, simple short word that's the same, then something longer, and something with spaces in. That's a reasonable variety of things to check this particular algorithm against. And just a couple of little corrections here. And right now we already have enough to take out the first layer of duplication, which is just the parts that are the value here. And if we want to take out the plumbing duplication as well, we can just create a little notice that's quite similar to the test name, except it's just doing the assertion part. It's not providing the test data. The data comes in here. And you can see this is pretty much the plumbing that you find inside that loop. And there we have it. So now we just need to grab this here and pass in same. So we're in pretty good shape now on the deduplication. The test plumbing only appears once. The assert false, the anagram is anagram. The data is only passed once to this test plumbing function, which is then entered twice into the anagram detector, which means all the test has to supply is the three example pieces of data, same, ornithological, and this has spaces. Let's see if that all passes. Okay, builds and passes, all good. So that concludes part one, a very simple data deduplication and test plumbing deduplication. We'll move on to something a little bit more interesting and complex in part two.